chat box. There we go. Now we're going to see all the messages that pop up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and welcome, Walljangers, to the only podcast this side of the Marvelverse to cover everything nerdy in the realm of geek culture. This is the Triforce podcast, of course, for the 283rd Perjangers and Wallhangers Media Network presentation. I am your host, Matthew Bugerell, the Matman, and in the Perjanger box we have Christopher Bristow, the old man. Joining probably sometime is Katerina Thermoscara, our wonderful woman. We have our producer, big brother, Stephen Bugerell, as well as our mascot, hero of time, Link Diablo. We gather here every single week for the latest and greatest in geek culture and nerdy news, but tonight, Scott Pilgrim saves the animated world when Amazon will release The Boys, fed up with crossplay, and so much more on the Triforce podcast. And we want you to hop over
cross progression
to pjandwh.com. We're going to find all the latest and greatest in nerdy news and geek culture and our funniest moments, as well as last week's Triforce podcast. You can't see me to I can't see you, and the last Triforce Lugnuts podcast rather. Mini Mazda Carol air purifier taillights, and you'll click on the second tab and find Walljanger Gaming with myself and Big Brother, streaming Monday through Friday and Sunday for myself. Big Brother
through Friday.
There you go. That's a better way of saying it.
Sunday. Why does it say that we're streaming Elder Scrolls right now?
It always does that.
It always does that.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
matter what he types in the box. It just says,
I'm sorry, we're doing the wrong thing right now. It would prefer if we did that, but that's not
all right. Switching over to Elder Scrolls instead of the Triforce podcast.
Yeah. I was just curious.
No, that's
why it happens to you guys and not me.
Yeah, no, there's something wacky going on, and it actually updated. But side business, BTS aside, behind the scenes, we want to start off with our first story, which unfortunately this week starts off with another death. Bob Saget, stand-up comedian and actor extraordinaire, has passed away.
This one, like, everybody grew up. If you were an 80s, 90s kid during that time, it was you saw Bob Saget everywhere on.
You did.
Full House, America's Funniest Home Videos. Like, there's a meme going around with him that says, "This is the guy that brought you your cat videos back in the day when there was no YouTube."
It did. He did though.
I watched it last night. So prelim reports is that he passed away in his sleep. Apparently that he had COVID prior, like in December. He recovered, and it's now like he did his show. He was on a podcast, ironically, and said that he thought he was going to die from COVID, with that it was so bad. And then the last report was after the show down in Orlando, he called his wife. He said he was in good spirits. He had a lot of energy. He was doing everything. And then, come checkout time, his wife didn't hear from him, and they sent a wellness checkup to him, and then that's when they found him.
Well, the initial autopsy report says that they found him face down.
It was actually face up in a kind of like a slanted side position, hand on the chest, one to his side.
Oh, so he had a heart attack.
They don't know if it was a heart attack or not.
That could just be how he sleeps.
Because they're not ruling anything out, but nothing is like conclusive right now. More so, I just feel bad that he didn't get to, the last moment was, it's very eerie. Like on his Twitter is like, 4 hours ago, he was talking about, like, prior to his death, he was talking about, having a great show at Orlando, and he donked it out of the park.
Yeah.
At least your last show was a good one.
And he was so excited about having new dates and everything. Guy was only 65.
Well, and he was also doing a lot of stuff. He did the Fuller House stuff, and he was one of my favorite things from Bob Saget was that people would go to his stand-up comedy shows expecting to see Danny Tanner, and they would not. They would find the
He was one of
raunchy,
the filthiest. See him in the Aristocrats, not with your children.
yeah. But no,
I watched that. It was awesome.
Aristocrats.
I said this to a coworker when I found out he died. I was like, dude, watch his stand-up. Like, people would send their, like, come on, kids, we're going to see Bob Saget, Danny Tanner. And then they would walk out of the theater. His stand-up comedy was fucking legendary, and it was so raunchy.
It was awesome.
It was
like,
perfect.
And I always keep that little bit in Half-Baked, man. That was awesome. Oh my God.
You ever suck dick for weed? Like, no, I haven't. Like, yeah, he was so fucking talented. And then, Bob Saget was just
and a Philly native too. Like he's
Philly native, and he was a genuine good person. That's what everybody I've seen that knew him said about him. He was a genuine.
And I would highly recommend Googling what Jimmy Kimmel said about him, and he had a hard time.
I bet you Jimmy Kimmel
it.
cried.
He did.
Like,
really, he cries over when someone spills coffee.
Well, I mean, ever since Kimmel had his kid,
it's that little thing called empathy.
Yeah, he turned a corner, but even with that, because I remember Kimmel when he was on when Ben Stein's Money.
Yeah, when Ben Stein's
Man
Money
Show.
and then Man Show. Yeah, I mean, he was really big in a small way back then because it was like, it's that guy. And now he has his own late night, which, if you haven't checked it out, the history of late night on HBO Max.
History of late night, yep.
Really good.
I still have to watch that myself.
It's really good. It's well worth a watch,
but
where it came from and where it evolved.
It's very heartbreaking that, the world subsequently feels like they lost their grandmother and their surrogate father all in one, in a span of 10 days.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well, I mean, that's the bad part of New Beginnings.
It's 2022, but please just take it back.
Well, it's the bad part of New Beginnings. You have the death, but you also have the rebirth of new things, like this next story.
That was a good segue.
So we have.
I'm going to say that's an okay segue running off for death.
You find a better segue for death. Like Netflix planning on making a Scott Pilgrim anime. So, and then it was time for Toronto to drown in the sweet sorrow of Clash at Demon Head again, but in the form of an anime. That's right. Netflix is planning to develop a new adaptation of the cult classic comic book and movie Scott Pilgrim versus the World. According to Hollywood Reporter, who broke the story, series creator Brian Lee O'Malley is set to write and executive produce the series alongside Are You Afraid of the Dark showrunner Ben David Grabinski. We'll go with that. He's a little handsy. Edgar Wright, the director for the 2010 movie, and its band members will also be involved with the Netflix anime. Wright, Nina Parker, Mark Platt, Jared LeBoeuf, and Adam Siegel of Mark Platt Productions and Michael Bacall will serve as executive producers, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Although the series has yet to be officially ordered, should things work out, Science Saru, the anime production studio behind Devilman Crybaby, Night is Short, Walk on Girl. Wow, that sounds weird. And Ping Pong.
That sounds weird.
It gets weirder. Ping Pong, the animated series.
Ping Pong.
Ooh, it's so exciting. Ping Pong. All day.
Boom, boom, boom. God, that sounds like a fucking boring ass show.
It's coming from a guy who's been playing video game golf. Like, yeah.
You know what they should bring out? Outlaw golf back. Bring that back.
Okay. Hot Shots wasn't bad.
Hot Shots wasn't bad, but Outlaw Golf had Steve Carell as an announcer, and you can actually beat up your caddy. That's what they should bring back.
All right, that's fair enough. Hopefully, this turn towards making anime adaptations of work, like with League of Legends Arcane, becomes more of a staple for Netflix going forward, instead of the alternative, giving properties the live-action treatment as the streamer did with the hastily canceled Cowboy Bebop series. A little bit of a controversial take there, because Cowboy Bebop was a good show, but it was too expensive. A lot like with what we found with Swamp Thing. It was too expensive to produce and to keep going, so they had to cut it. So when you have such attention to detail, that can actually spell your doom.
That's why a lot of these shows that we kind of hold in reverence do better in anime form. They just do better in anime form. When you do a live action, you have to take the production value and the expense at the production value. You have to take the L on that. You just know you're going to spend some fucking money.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different examples when you look at this, because you look at what they did with Cowboy Bebop and essentially meddling with the story, but giving it the proper attention to CGI, which I was more inclined to appreciate that series, no matter what liberties they took, because this is a live action. It's, different universe. Just take it for the story. And I didn't think the story was that bad. Now, it being canceled because of money, I find an acceptable excuse, though, to where you look at where they could have gone. And it's, a whole bunch of different possibilities. With Scott Pilgrim, this is already a comic book adaptation. They have good track record with comic book adaptations. So I don't see this as really having that anime problem. They're converting a comic book to an anime, which has been done many times. And
successfully, though?
Oh, you look at the anime X-Men and the anime Wolverine series.
Those are badass.
Those were amazing, and that's the same thing. Just like there was a bunch of those superhero properties that they took into anime form, and Deadpool manga. Come on now.
Oh, that's right.
One of the most successful mangas right now is Deadpool, because everybody loves him. That's why people tuned into my Old Republic stream. They were like, all right, Deadpool, I'm in. That's, certain properties have that magic of, fuck it, why not? And that's what you find. So, there is that. Scott Pilgrim versus the World was a very popular film. We got
how messed up would that be? You do a Deadpool stream, and I have a Deadpool costume as well, and we just do this.
But I find this story has some promise. It does have promise. A lot like our next story, because Batman, the Cape Crusader animated show, taps comics creator Ed Brubaker as head writer for the series.
Okay.
So Batman fans have a lot to look forward to in the near future, with the Batman releasing in theaters in just a couple of months. But another upcoming project that is getting fans of The Dark Knight excited is Bruce Timm's new show, Batman, Cape Crusader. Tim co-created the legendary Batman the Animated Series back in the 90s, and much has been kept quiet about this new Batman story. However, knowing that J.J. Abrams and the Batman director Matt Reeves are going to be executive producing the project alongside James Tucker and Tim, has held us over until more news dropped. Thankfully, we know who one of the writers on the series. What? Jesus Christ. TV just decided to have a mind of its own.
What happened?
The TV just decided to turn on and have a mind of its own.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Jesus Christ. So,
piece of shit.
Thankfully, now we know who one of the
What kind of TV do you have?
Thankfully, we know who one of the writers on the series will be. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the comic book writer Ed Brubaker is writer and executive producer. Brubaker created Batman the Animated Series for his interest in superhero comics, telling The Hollywood Reporter, here's something a few people know, but the original Batman the Animated Series was one of the things that made me want to write superhero comics in general. He would continue by saying, if not for what Bruce Timm and all the talented writers and artists did with that show, things like my revamp of Catwoman with Darwin Cook, who worked on Batman the Animated Series, and Gotham Central with Greg Rucka and Michael Lark, would have never happened. So when Bruce Timm offered me the chance to come work on his new reimagining of Batman with him, James Tucker, J.J. Abrams, and Matt Reeves and I jumped at it. So a lot of talented minds involved in this new telling, and it's Batman the Animated Series, but what they really wanted to do. So I got to imagine they're going to be going dark because it's DC.
Batman.
Well, Batman has progressively gotten darker throughout the years.
Joke
So
me,
if you look
Alfred.
at
Joke me. Come
look
on.
at the animated
Give it
series.
to me.
The safe word is justice. God.
I think that's the podcast title.
Fuck. I didn't mean to make Batman into BDSM, but you know what? He did it to
I did.
himself.
They call him the Dark Knight for a reason.
BDSM justice.
So
I think we got our TikTok clip as well. TikTok, join us at pjandwh.com. Love to have you over here in the real world.
so
I mean, if the Chinese are listening, Batman's into S&M. So go with that, fellas.
I just
Got
imagine
to make them feel warm inside, doesn't it? Makes everyone feel warm
I just
inside.
imagine Batman heavy metal like BDSM
Why he's got a
masks
cave.
popping up all over the internet now.
Yeah. It's not just hanging upside down to be like a bat. It likes Alfred to whip him.
That's a new meaning to the Batman who laughs.
Forget the torture rack.
Oh, boy.
Their version of the show is much different than ours, with a slight more pulpy take on the character and a new way of looking at the world of Gotham set in the past but viewed through modern lens. Really sold me. And so far, every part of it has been a blast to work on.
Where is it? The blow-up doll. Where is it?
I can't wait till the rest of the world can see what I've been building the last few months in the writer's room. All I can say
Where is she?
it's not what anyone is expecting, but in a good way. So I kind of accept that as an excuse. I mean, if I'm not expecting really anything of it like I am now, going into this knowing that it's a pulpier, which sounds a little bit orange juicy.
You make it sound like one of those old pulp novels you'd read as a kid.
Well, I imagine they're going like for noir, detective, like
Yeah,
really
well, that's-
gritty.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant
what it
grapefruits. I'm sorry.
Different kind of fruit. But a different kind of taking on Gotham, especially from all these
Middle that counts.
original creators of the animated series, because back in the day, a lot like Spider-Man, the animated series, in the 90s, you couldn't do a lot of shit, especially with the...
No, but you had some kick-ass opening music, though.
Yeah, but is that what we really sacrificed ourselves for? The opening music?
Well, we were much younger, so that's what we accepted.
That's when you heat up the chicken nuggets.
Yeah. But, I mean...
I want some chicken nuggets.
Even when you look at Morbius, how he wasn't a vampire, but he did have a hunger for plasma, and he didn't suck your blood.
Yeah, they labeled it plasma and not blood in the animated
He
series.
had weird, like, mouths on his hands that he would just absorb the plasma. Not all the blood,
He was a walking cephalopod
just the plasma.
for just
There's a
plasma.
difference.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like Spider-Man couldn't be seen hitting people. Kicking was fine. You could kick the fuck out of anybody you wanted.
Okay.
A lot of different shit.
And unless it ended in an uppercut.
Yeah. Tiger uppercut. But this next story is equally going to be an uppercut in and of itself because...
Well, so we went from Batman doing BDSM to this is just allowed as a normal thing.
Well, yeah, because we're going towards Herogasm because The Boys Season 3 trailer pops up with a June release date. And the third season of The Boys will premiere on Amazon Prime Video on June 3rd, with the new episodes hitting the streaming platform on Fridays. Based on Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson's comic of the same name, The Boys explores a world where superheroes use their powers for their own selfish gain. So a task force of vigilantes works to keep the all-powerful heroes known as the Seven in check. The first season premiered in 2019. The show stars Carl Urban, known as Billy Butcher, and the leader of the vigilante group, Jack Quaid, as Huey, a civilian who gets caught up in the world of The Boys after his girlfriend was viciously murdered by a superhero. They didn't have that in the article, but I put that because she was viciously murdered.
Yeah.
Everything but her hands.
He didn't even see her.
Yeah.
She just vaporized.
Talk about I can't see you. But Anthony Starr, as Homelander, leader of the Seven, is equally as just fucking demented. You know, you see him as
He's
this
downright dastardly.
Yeah,
he needs a therapist.
Superman.
He needs a therapist.
Desperate.
Really open
Are you nominating yourself for that,
No,
there, big
I'm
brother?
not a therapist.
No, he's not a therapist, but
I'm a
also
psychologist, not a psychiatrist.
there you go.
That's,
He has also a
So you
weird,
can at least prescribe him pills.
no,
a weird
you need
fetish.
$100,000 worth of education for that.
But there's
At the cheapest.
at least a weird fetish for milk
Yeah.
in and of itself. Okay, you can at least describe it down to that and a mother fetish. All right, but where they're going with this, we've heard Herogasm, which is really fucking a great storyline in the comics, and they've already shown some pre-pictures of like Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy. Not that one. We've made too many jokes at that in the past, but can't wait to see what they're doing because The Boys has always been a very like edgy show,
Gritty.
but also it's gone where other shows haven't, and you've also like thanked it for, you know, to where
This is one of the shows that definitely pushed the boundaries of what you can do with the superhero medium.
Mhm.
Just in and itself, you knew, like, this is a proper telling of what you think the superheroes would actually act like.
Yeah.
Some are good, some are in it just for the fame, and some just are downright assholes, and some just are fucking crazy. This is what you expect. Like,
Yeah.
if we all get superpowers from having COVID, this is what's going to happen. Everybody's just going to be like, fuck off.
I'm sorry, Mayor West, you have melanoma. What would make you roll around in radioactive material?
I say, good fella.
But I really think that when you have destructive potential in premise like this show, that it's something that you should focus on. A lot like focusing on this next story.
Was that a good segue?
No, it wasn't a good segue. I was going to hit the button, but I was like, nah, it was kind of iffy. But
No, because it wouldn't have been a good segue because we would have just set the world on fire.
we would have. But I just want to start a great big flame right down in your heart with this next story of Amazon's Fallout TV series.
Dude, that was a repaired segue.
Because they're
there a
about to
video?
enter production.
No video. Huh?
No. Amazon Prime Video's adaptation of the Fallout franchise of the video games is entering production this year, so that's why they don't have a video. They didn't shoot anything yet. And
Likely excuse.
its two lead writers have been named.
Hasn't
according
stopped other people in the past.
to reports in
No.
Deadline and Variety. It was previously known that Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, who worked together on HBO's Westworld, would be executive producers, and Variety and Deadline both reported that
play the
Nolan
game?
will direct the first episode of the show.
Play the fucking game.
Luminous
All of them?
Tater says, I hope they do as well a Sonic movie.
Oh, hey, buddy. How are you?
Hey, thanks for joining us, Luminous Tater.
But I think that first off, Westworld was an amazing show.
Yeah.
And having these two people, especially Lisa Joy, who she was interviewed a bunch when they did that behind the scenes stuff in Westworld. So you got to see a lot of her thought process when she went into making the show. I kind of feel like, especially with the minor successes that we have seen in video game adaptations, Fallout is the perfect premise for this. And having Westworld people involved in it
Just
is an even bigger sign that you could really have a fire show.
just respect the property, you know? Don't
Now-
Yeah,
fuck up
we
the
always say
Brotherhood
the
of
story is
Steel,
always
damn
going to
it.
be the narrative that you need.
Now, where do you want to see them? Where do you want to see the show pop up?
I'd like to see the Brotherhood of Steel show up wherever they're going. That's about it.
I kind of feel like that's a given.
Yeah. Well, not
But
necessarily.
what territory? Do you want to see them
They
like
weren't.
in
They weren't in
like
originally,
North
what's that,
Dakota? Do you want to
the
see them,
Fallout to not?
you know, like
Take
Fallout,
me somewhere
Maryland?
new. Take me somewhere new. Don't take me to like DC or. Take
Okay,
me,
so no Maryland, Virginia area.
no, like no.
How about Wisconsin?
I don't care. Don't tell me where it is.
You have a perfect
Make me learn
opportunity to
where it
include
is.
Florida Man. I'm just saying.
He would be like in between a super mutant and a regular human, and it would just be a Florida man.
Yeah, and with Fallout, there's small details you have to take into consideration, like when the bombs dropped, it was Halloween.
Well, here's the thing, Luminous Tater. You said Fallout would be good as a movie. TV series, I feel is so much better because now you can explore the different characters and their motives and, you know, in the plot of the whole story and really make it altogether a better experience because that's really what you log into Fallout, not 76, for the story.
Yeah, we don't mention that one.
Bob
They what?
76 was a
that's
trying time in Fallout fans' patience, especially since
We're just
they
gonna
kept
not
trying to
add a
convince you.
game. How about that? Entertain your fucking selves,
It's
asshole.
just a kid with a cardboard box poking it, and you got to find the stick.
Yeah.
Damn, I don't want to be right. I really don't. Not in all cases, but I do want to be right about the show because, especially with different properties like Star Trek and Star Wars really being popular and, you know, gaining this huge franchise that they do now, I think that it's a lot more promising for the fans that this show is coming along in the time that it is.
Luminous Tater says the TV series would be dope, and I hope it would be like The Witcher, LOL, all lore. Except if we could keep it on one timeline or tell me, what the fuck are you doing? 50 years ahead, 50 years back?
50
At least if you're going to do
years
time travel,
later.
add like, I don't know, a graphic.
Sometime later.
Sometime before.
But so a lot of things that we say, and you know, unfortunately, they end up coming true because like no one talks to us. So besides you, Luminous Tater, we appreciate you. Hashtag, Projangers Projang, our only fan.
This one. Go ahead.
Our only fan. Go ahead.
I didn't think you were going to mention your OnlyFans account, Chris. I didn't think you wanted anyone to know.
We heart you.
Well, that's a Thursday thing.
Oh,
tune
that's
in.
Thursday.
Anyway,
Oh.
A lot of things would get a
Luminous Tater says, "Stay on point, damn it, Fallout."
Right. Fallout.
a lot of
Anyway.
things we would have the proper story told. Fallout being one of them. I know, like Last of Us is getting a show like that. We also mentioned like
We hope.
the recent Matrix movie should have been a limited live action series
Yeah.
with a proper cadence of like 6 to 7 episodes.
But with
So-
that one, I think she's got a plan for another movie or something.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think there's a plan for another movie. If not,
But they could have made a
Another
season 1, season 2,
trilogy.
season 3 of fully fleshed out the other characters, like the background characters. But
But anyway,
Fallout if they really want to do it right, you have all that lore and
There's a
content from
lot
Fallout
of
1
lore.
all the way to the most recent Fallout, excluding 76. 'cause
Let's start
we're
with
not
the
even
Great
gonna count
War.
this.
Like, where do you want the series to be?
I would
like
love
it
them.
to be the Great
I would
War.
love them to start at 3 and then have the flashbacks of like why we're here, and then go into 4 or New Vegas, like all that, or like take like bits and pieces from that.
I would want it to be a different location, and I wouldn't mind seeing flashbacks to pre and post if your main character has that, like almost like what they did with Fallout 4. But I would also want something new out of them as well. I wouldn't just want, but I would like say you go to Seattle, right? You can have a lot of fun in that area, especially with different, animals and shit like that. You'd give me Fallout Canada, Fallout England. I don't care where the fuck you go, but I want it to be somewhere
Could
new.
you imagine of like 4 different series Fallout all in different locations, and they have a massive crossover event?
I
of, like,
kind
That
of,
would be
although I kind of really hope for Fallout Florida. I want to see how fucking wacky that state gets after.
Florida mutant, Florida mutant.
would be unchanged.
Be the same.
Florida would be unaffected. It just goes. It bounces off. Florida is normal.
Florida
You go
is-
there. It's like
more
the beginning
Florida.
of Fallout 76. Everything's normal.
The half
Everything's
troll
fine.
/ ogres would be like the mutant ogres would be going like, it's 70 degrees. We need our sweaters.
Oh my god, what the hell? You guys know this is the apocalypse, right? I know, we're out
They'll
of
be like-
butter.
We're like, but we're tall enough to walk to Puerto Rico.
This one is also like the Elder Scrolls series they're doing.
Yeah,
There's so much that could go wrong
yeah,
because
Yeah.
people love this shit so much.
yeah.
But if you
That's
respect
where
and there's so much lore.
that's where you
There
gotta
are
have
podcasts dedicated just to the lore.
you
of
gotta have the
Fallout
fans
76.
involved in it. That's where you get it,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like you look at what the decision, and I keep bringing it up, but Sonic. You look at the decision they made of like, hey, we put this out. It was almost like a conscious decision of like, no, put out what a trailer with what the studio wants us to put out, and we will show them that people care about their properties, and they're not just going to keep putting up with fucking gruel.
Mhm.
And then now we have this huge boom into, all right, well, what else do the fans want? Let me pull this out of my toy box. How about more He-Man? Oh, you like that, huh? Keep giving them more shit. It makes them hungry, I guess is my point. Which, of course, we're all hungry for something. Like our next story. Because if you're hungry and you have an event, or maybe you just want a caterer, I'm not going to judge you, but I am going to point you over to A+ Catering and Events. My good friend Ayla LeBoy, she will be the guide to your next delicious event and might even win over the whole thing because they plan out a whole bunch of delicious delicatessens to make your mouths water and everybody at your party say, man, you remember Bob's party? Oh, the caterer they had? Oh, my God, it was delicious. You're going to be that guy if you go over to facebook.com/APLUS Tri-State and book them for your next event in the Tri-State area.
I know you spoke to them about doing an event for us, and we're just waiting for it to get warmer.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I will be glad to have them over anytime.
Absolutely, man. You'll check them out. A+ Catering, the #1 gold standard in your next event for food. But our next story has a little bit of hope because BioWare calls Dragon Age 4 a single-player game, quote, built on choices that matter.
Mm-hmm.
BioWare, we heard this line before.
Yeah, I heard this before.
Look, baby, I swear I'm not going to hit you again.
Mm-hmm.
Little did she know, it was not going to be the last time.
Little did she
Thank
know
you,
he
Morgan
was
Freeman.
going to kill her that night and bury her in the...
Bury her in the backyard.
That's right.
And that's how Andy Dufresne really got to Shawshank Prison. That was a long time ago in a galaxy far away. There's nothing revolutionary about that joke. And in the new update, but BioWare is telling us on Dragon Age 4 is worth phrasing phrasing through? What the fuck are you guys trying to say? If anything, there's another assurance that the sequel will have a robust single-player campaign at its heart, which is actually a really reassuring thing to hear as a gamer, especially in the world of so many different online games. And don't get me wrong, every Sunday you'll find me streaming on the MMO.
The main reason
Republic.
why they're trying to point this out, because Inquisition, great game, long story, but they also tried to cram in a just slap together multiplayer. Now, once you got through the main game and you played the multiplayer, it was okay once you leveled up your character, but the grind was so heavy. I didn't even bother.
No, I wouldn't have either. But I mean, that was the kind of time, because Destiny was that kind of Destiny and everything kind of really that grind heavy game was very popular.
Yeah,
And
Destiny kind of like set the mold back in 14 with that grind heavy. Like, hey, we're only going to give you like a 0.02% to get this exotic.
There was a big push towards grind heavy games. I feel like after Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Souls kind of was.
Some
doing that
people
too.
took that as we're just going to make it really, really hard.
It awoke in the masochists.
Whereas Dark Souls, there was skill.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you'd spend the time practicing that parry. Just to be to yourself.
Parry is a very important skill to have as
especially
a gamer.
in
Yes.
Dark Souls with all that.
Luminous Tater says those exist already. BioWare, LOL. Detroit Become Human, The Walking Dead game, etc. Undertale is 1 too. Deltarune even. So yeah, I agree. But that's why I get into games where I'm actually going to enjoy.
Let's say
I'll
they're
play.
trying-
I'll sit there and play SimCity or, StarCraft 2 or Warcraft 3. Like, I'll play those games
Or
because
Conker's Bad
I know what
Fur
I'm getting
Day
to.
for the 1,000th time.
Well,
but I like to keep my skills up points just so I can play. And I like playing, those types of games because, again, I know what I'm getting into. When there's a grind heavy game, unless there's a community like with a group of friends, I'm not really committing to a lot. Like, I'll play Old Republic with you, or I'll do New World with you whenever I get around to logging on for the first time. But I can't see myself playing a grind heavy game just by myself. Like, I gotta have like a group of friends to play it with.
Okay.
Just makes it more easier to consume.
I can see that. Now,
and you're not 12.
Bringing it back on the rails here with BioWare and everything they've done wrong up until this point, Anthem.
It would be nice if they took this and sort of did a Mass Effect thing.
Yeah.
Because when you have choices involved, it makes all the previous games way more replayable.
Exactly.
It builds the story, builds the world, builds all the people.
The lore is more fleshed out. Yeah, it's just there.
You get attached to the characters. When you play Mass Effect, you have all this history when they've all survived all this way.
But I'm holding out my hope for the future of BioWare. I'm going to say with this next iteration of Dragon Age and Mass Effect, because if anything else by this story I get is that they understand the one key feature that people absolutely loved about their games before the dark times, which is
keeping their promises.
Choices.
They held us all back, the dark times. Ruined our entertainment.
Luminous says, I love Undertale because the story is affected by your choices, and it's amazing to see how terrifying it is to go full genocide.
Exactly. Being able to have those choices. When you first logged into Mass Effect for the first time, and fuck the bug people, that you could either commit genocide or let them live. And then having that
The Rachni.
Rachni,
Yes.
Well,
You
they
could
show
either-
up in the next game.
and then they show up in the next game, and
Well-
those choices affect, and it affects your gameplay. That's to your point, but it's also to my point of being able to have that choice, being able to have those several thousand.
Play the Mass
playthroughs.
Effect, Luminous. You play Mass Effect, the trilogy.
Yeah,
You
like
will be
Legendary
glad that you
Edition.
did.
Like
Yes.
if Mass Effect, if you don't save the Quarian or she dies in the first one, she ain't in the third one. That's it. That's all she wrote.
There's no regeneration then.
Yeah, there ain't no regeneration. Yeah, no amount of clapping in the world will bring you back.
Come on, everybody,
Where I'm
slow
gonna
cut.
send you.
No, slow clap's not going to work. Okay, but I like the fact of these games and getting back to that single.
You
because
haven't
everybody
played
said
Mass Effect? Seriously?
get on the
hell is
Legendary
wrong
Edition,
with
man.
you? It's
Legendary Edition. is the
Actually,
one
you
to
could
hop
just
in.
watch me play it. I did a playthrough at
Actually, that's very true. That is right on the Walljanger Gaming. You could watch Mass
Walljanger
Effect.
Gaming. It's up there.
Yes.
We went through the whole thing. But it is definitely one to go through, if
Yeah, you
not
can go
watch
dark.
all the way through, because it is. I say it all the time. It was one of my favorite games, especially growing up, because it was one of those games that got me back into gaming.
PlayStation.
That I'm sorry, Luminous. I'm sorry that your motherboard fried a year ago.
Yeah, well, it's
R.I.P.
available on PlayStation.
That is the
I assume.
worst time.
And it is included in the Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, so it is
Hey,
currently
there you go.
free if you're a PC or Xbox player
Yeah.
and you are subscribed to that. So
There you go.
PC or Xbox, you can play it.
Okay.
There we go. A lot of good news and hope. Like, hopefully, this story of Dragon Age and Mass Effect looking more towards the single player campaign, because people said it a long time that single player games are dead. People only want multiplayer. You look at games like Call of Duty.
I don't want multiplayer. I want single player.
Look at games like Call of Duty that are just focusing to where they had a good fucking single player game, to where you look at fucking Black Ops or even the first Modern
played the
Warfare.
first one.
Those were great fucking stories as well as a good multiplayer. Now it's everything got churned out multiplayer. It has to be online and multiple people in it and MMOs and all that. Now having a big company say, you know what? How about we focus on this solely single player experience? And the companies that have done that in recent past have had great games, because they focused on what the story they want to tell.
Yes,
and not
the dark times.
all the people that they can touch. Giggity. So that's my big. I'll step off the soapbox, but that's my big thing, man, is these guys are obviously trying to step into a part of their past that everybody loves. And there was a lot of things that people loved about BioWare. Just like there's a lot of things that people loved before their own dark times turned, which is this next story, because Xbox players.
It's not a New Hope.
No, it is not a new hope for them, because Xbox players are fed up with forced crossplay against PC gamers.
Tough. Grow up.
This is the new norm. Get used
Are
to
they
it.
better than you? Are their PCs more powerful?
Get better.
So
That's all I got to tell you. Get good, bud.
I can say this hands down.
Yeah.
I've played Halo Infinite on both Xbox and PC, and I've played Call of Duty Vanguard on Xbox and PC. I've played Battlefield 2042 on Xbox and PC. There is a subtle timing difference with PC. It is just hands down, it's always going to have priority over console.
It's because we're better than
That's from what I see, and that just from experiencing, from a latency concern, and
It's
just from a
hardware
graphical concern.
the hardware has a big thing to do with it. The one-to-one aiming that you get with a mouse as compared to a controller. There's a whole bunch of different factors that make PC superior, but it's not our fault.
It's just designed. It's just the way it's designed. Like console has to go through a medium in order to get to the server and connect. Whereas PC is native right to the server. That's just hands down networking 101. You're going to have priority on PC. It's just the way it is. So the only thing, there's only a couple caveats. Battlefield 2042 has, if you play on the previous gen, they are not crossplay with PC players because only the new gen is crossplay with PC players to kind of to help reduce the priority. So, like Luminous is saying, PC is going to be superior. The gap is closing. I think the next wave of consoles, if any, you'll very rarely see a priority gap.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be on par with a PC player, you got to get the current gen consoles. It's the only way to go.
Look, I mean,
or you can play on PC.
Xbox has tried their might to give the console players, some hope of having the keyboard and mouse adaptability.
Well, I mean, keyboard and mouse, but the technology for consoles are kind of like reduced back because like I can play 1440, 3440 by 1440 on my PC. I cannot do that on my console. On the next wave of HDMI 2.1 that's going to be coming out, it will be able to enable that on console. When that happens, the latency will be reduced and you'll have equal priority against both.
But until then,
until then, it's
Play
coming.
another
It's just
game.
not coming
There
now.
you go. Problem solved. You
I don't know what to tell you. Get a PC. Get good.
can play
but-
Skyrim.
Pokemon is awesome on the Switch.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but games like Call of Duty Warzone and Halo Infinite forced Xbox players to match against PC gamers in a variety of playlists. If you don't have to look very far to see why people are very angry about it, now that cheating in Halo is confirmed on PC, we can have option to opt out of crossplay. Now, all right. Cheating
You still
is
have
very rampant on PC as compared to consoles.
yes on certain games.
On
So
certain
Call of Duty
games.
Warzone is a complete cross-play game. There's no way to turn it off, so you have to play regardless.
Mm.
That's just the way the game's built. But you can turn crossplay off from multiplayer on Call of Duty Vanguard and on Black Ops and on Modern Warfare, the most recent iterations of them. You can do the same thing for Battlefield 2042. You can turn off crossplay. So the options are there. Your wait times for rooms are increased because you're only matching with that console.
Yeah. So if you're fine with waiting to get into the room, then that is an option. But obviously, this is another option that they have gone to save the loading time or the queue time that you have to wait for a match.
I will say the anti-cheating software for both companies, it's still in its infancy, but it's an AI.
Yeah.
And it's a robust AI. So if you give it another 3, 4, 5 months, you'll be starting to see, massive bans against cheaters.
Yeah, I'm just scanning through the article. It has some people's comments like, this is a huge hang on, this is funny. Forced crossplay is a scam by Microsoft, reads another post in the Microsoft's Halo Waypoint forums. Forced crossplay is a mistake, says another Redditor. Oh, a Redditor. I'm gonna believe a Redditor.
Yeah.
Ah.
Luminous, if you played the new if you played Star Wars Battlefront 2 now, it is in a much better state.
Yes.
And
yes,
there's not as it's more stable. You can notice when there's cheaters and they get taken care of pretty quick.
That's because of the community. And I
the community holds
Star
everybody
Wars.
accountable in that game now.
Star Wars community is actually a very positive one, and we've talked about it on the last Matt plays there.
Well, Star Wars
Tater.
community is also masochists, so they endure a lot of pain to get the good stuff.
Exactly. And that's what really sells the product. But a lot of people, I can understand, but I think going forward, it should be at least optional to have that option to check out a crossplay. If you're looking
Not
for
calling
a
you out,
fair
Luminous.
match, if you're looking for a
Thank
fair
you.
match, it should be an option that, hey, it's in your settings. No, you know what? Fuck those PC players. I want to have fun and dominate over these other guys. I'm going to opt out of that. It should be there.
Yes, but for certain games, you kind of have to go with how it's built. Like Warzone's one of them. Fortnite's one of them. You have to go how it's built.
It's fair enough.
You want to play the game, you can play that game. If you want to play a game like that but doesn't have crossplay, play that one.
Yeah, you want to fuck with the bull, you get the horns. But Sony has,
or just get better.
Yeah, Sony has a different option on the table because we all know that Sony, our next story, has a little bit of a shortage problem, which of course is in semiconductors, a lot like everybody.
Yeah, you
But-
don't say.
I thought it was gonna be just another little prick.
Oh, it's a big prick because Sony is making more PS4s in response to the PS5 shortage.
I agree, Luminous, by the way.
Don't keep it to yourself.
Well, there's a comment.
He says he'll
It
play
shows
he'll
up over your
play
head.
Star Wars The Old Republic till it's shut down, till I die telling my grandkids of the good old days.
Exactly. That's what we both agreed on during Matt Plays. I will play this game until they shut it the fuck off.
Yep. Which they probably never will because it's a cash cow for them.
Exactly. They're just going to keep putting out DLC. Sony had hoped to quickly transition away from the hugely successful PlayStation 4 following the release of PlayStation 5. However, the dastardly semiconductor shortage has scrupled its plans. The company is now reportedly continuing production of the PS4 through 2022.
Would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you damn semiconductors.
And your dog, too. Despite hoping to end it by the end of 2021, they were wrong. Speaking to Bloomberg, people close to the matter say the company is planning to produce roughly 1 million PlayStation 4 consoles to help offset the lack of PlayStation 5 availability. It's like, damn, I want a car. Here's a bike.
You mean like a back of a Volkswagen?
Like, what the fuck? You know? Sony reportedly has confirmed that this is the case and that production of the PS4 will continue in 2022. However, it suggested that it had no plans to discontinue the console at the end of 2021. Of course not.
Oh,
You're still
I'm
gonna,
just saying this.
You were still going
It's-
to build them for at least another 2 years.
If that, but I got extremely lucky nabbing my PS5. Like I told you. Yeah, I got, following those Twitter feeds, and I was just like, oh, it's gonna be here. And then I was just like, I'm just gonna try 16 times, try 20 times and just keep on clicking my little method. And then when on try 16, it was just like, your item has been added to cart. I was just like, all right, credit card, here you go.
After 16 clicks, the problem has been fixed.
Yes, but to go to that, to go to from that to Xbox Series X, a lot of my friends have been searching for the console, and I'm like, I can find one in 5 minutes for you. You just gotta know how to Google it, like certain keywords. And I found
saw it at Staples.
Jimmy one. I found his friend one. I found his other friend Cam one. And all through Xbox All Access.
So hop on over to pjandwh.com and contact the team, and Old Man will help you find a console. But as end of September 2021,
All you have to do is just share our content. Thank you.
the PlayStation 5 has sold 13.3 million units in total, and the PlayStation 4 has sold 7.6 million in its first year, nearly doubling the figure to 14.8 million in its second year of production.
Luminous states that he feels like the time between announcing the PS5 and then release just flew, like turning around and bam, it's out.
Well,
Yeah, I
there
get
was
that.
a-
It was like, oh, we're hush, 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 hush. And then all of a sudden, like, here's designs. And now, oh, it's released. And now you can't get it.
in your face, like, oh my god. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
no, I
like
got
it's
that.
kind of like
Yeah.
how the villain in The Crow was just like, hey, I'm this guy. Call. Fuck, I'm dead.
So the PlayStation 5 SoC is built by TSMC and designed by AMD, which means Sony, like most PC gamers, is struggling to get a hold of as many chips as it would like. Furthermore, wider component shortages are impacting all fields of technology from consoles to cars, causing headaches throughout the supply chain. So calm yourself, Junior. Everyone,
the entire
is hurting.
supply chains took a hit.
Yeah,
you know,
everyone.
you combine that with the fact that, like, you know, semiconductors go into everything anymore. Like, we got a GPU shortage with the NVIDIA cards, of course, with that. You know, AMD's also suffering with their semiconductor.
That's why AMD started putting out older cards as well that didn't use these semiconductors, just so they could get something.
And then on top of that, like, to build your PC, it's pretty much the same as a pre-built one nowadays because of the rarity and scarcity of these cards.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put to nail it down. And then when you add in the cryptocurrency market and the mining capacity of, like, you need all these, you need like 4, 5, 6 GPUs to be an effective crypto miner.
Yeah.
It's putting stress and goddamn stress on the supply chain.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. And then you look at, even stuff, when you look at the technological market, like Bitcoin, that is heavily influenced.
Yeah, scalpers don't help either, Luminous, I know.
It's heavily influenced by this technology being readily available. So there's a lot of stuff to consider.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because, like, I want to get a 3080, but I don't feel like spending $2,500 for one. I don't.
First world problems.
It is a first world problem. I'll stick with my 2080 for right now.
Yeah.
It's running Call of Duty and Battlefield just fine.
Exactly. So maybe the latest and greatest can wait for a bit. Like our podcast. Hopping over to our page, end off the podcast every single week the same way with the end segment. A nice thought-provoking idea to get your thought juices bubbling. So what I wanted to do for this week is to take the light side and maybe flip it upside down into the dark, which tonight's end segment is, what Marvel or DC hero would you want to see as a live-action villain?
DC, Superman with Red Sun. We already saw a little bit of that with Brightburn, but...
A little bit, yeah. He was just a misunderstood child, though. Missed his mommy and daddy. Couldn't connect with him because, planet.
Luminous says Iron Man, just Iron Man.
Yeah, no, Iron Man would be really good to see him as the villain. Although that's kind of Lex Luthor, isn't it?
Yeah, that is Lex Luthor.
That's what you got. I'd like to see Lex Luthor as a good guy.
Although in the fucking comics, Lex Luthor has become the new dark side, to where that. How did he do that? It's Lex Luthor. He finds a fucking way.
Batman would be a good choice, of course.
Yeah,
but
I would want to see the Batman who laughs out of the heavy metal comic series, because that would be really fucking great, which is where this came out of in my mind. But even sticking just in DC, seeing
Flash.
who the Hal Jordan Green Lantern, who he would turn out to be if he didn't get the ring, and what kind of villain he would turn into, I thought would be really interesting.
Think he would be a fear or anger?
I would say anger. He would probably be right in there with the Atrocitus line. I'd see him as Red Lantern.
Luminous, I have to kind of throw a caveat on there because Batman witnessed his parents died, because that could fracture anyone and make them go insane and become a villain.
Yeah. Well, you look at Flashpoint, because Martha Wayne became Joker because of witnessing her son being killed in front of her.
Right.
And Thomas just became a surly, drunkard with a bunch of guns and a batsuit.
I would love to see Alfred as a villain. That's a tough one, because a
manipulative mastermind to where he's just the villain behind it the whole time and just coaxing Batman along the way.
Pulling the marionette strings, man.
Ooh, the String Master would be his name.
Yes, it would be.
That would be so fucking good. Alfred Pennyworth is the string master. Oh man, I want to see that comic now, man. That's a
Yeah,
good
you're
one.
welcome. You're welcome, man.
And then
we'll have Frank Percy make it.
You can get Andy Serkis as the Alfred for your puppet master, and that would be completely fucking believable.
And then, what about Howard the Duck as a villain?
I mean, he's so ridiculous; it's hard to take him seriously. But
that's the whole shtick. Like, he would still be not taken seriously as a villain. That would be just a satire.
Everybody's about to die. There's a bomb, and then Howard the Duck comes out, and they're like, "Oh, come on, man, really? Whatever. Do the fucking push the button or don't. I don't care anymore."
See, like, that's the stick.
All right, I kind of see that. And as like a comedy, that would really work. Marvel,
it's supposed to be a comedy, but not an anti-comedy. It's like one of those. Yeah.
Marvel wise, I would really love to see like a Thor villain, like as Thor is this evil fucking vengeful god just fucking with humanity instead of loving it.
So you're talking about Christianity?
Yeah. 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 All right, I'll allow that. My immediate go-to was
Those are the
Thor.
sermons I remember on Sunday.
Although another one that I do remember from the comics as well, which is Reed Richards. His multiversal villain variant is a fucking Billy Badass, worth like noting.
And then I'm surprised you haven't said this one, but what about Deadpool?
Well, he's an anti-hero. So he's already kind of dickish. He's like the Gray Jedi, to where I was going more full light and full dark, to where we could even flip this on its head, to where what villain would you want to see as a hero? Because my go-to would be the Joker.
I would do Riddler.
Galactus.
Fucking Galactus as a hero.
The world repairer, not the world eater.
He's over here like, you people have a serious CO2 problem. What is wrong with you? Get rid of these cars.
Look,
get you
just use this strategy and I'll solve all your poverty problems. Wow, thanks. You're the bestest.
His heralds actually go out and start repairing the worlds, and then he's like, all right.
And then all of a sudden,
we got a lot of CO2 and climate change problems, world poverty and starving. Ooh, I got a lot of work to do here. Roll up the sleeves.
make sure you like and subscribe for my services.
He's got a fucking YouTuber on the side. That's the Silver
subscribe,
Surfer.
and share below.
And here I go repairing another world. Like, share, subscribe below. And here we just go ahead and massage the little CO2.
Today on Galactus Saves the World.
He's just traveling around the galaxy.
And you gotta have that over the top announcer like in the Clone Wars, like
Yeah.
recaps. It's like last week on Galactus Saves the World.
Galactus saves the world. Last week, Galactus saved Namor. Oh, Namor. No shit. Fuck, Galactus is a nice guy. Really having a different light on Galactus, I think, would be the real way to go. And then he finishes
He
it
provided endless and renewable power supply to the people of Earth, and they still abused it anyway.
And then he finishes off his hard day of repairing planets in the galaxy for a nice, refreshing drink at the Red River.
That's right. It's great. It's they sell wine and stuff.
Wine
It's
and
red.
spirits.
Yeah, all the beers dyed red because the name.
Red River. It's their own signature brand.
I'm glad you made that segue when we named Alfred the String Master.
That's right.
No pun intended.
He doesn't
And
work
you
at
could
the Red River.
dingle dash up a chocolate brownie from across the street.
Dingle dash.
Sure, why not?
Be a dingle today.
Yeah, be a dingle dasher. They're over at the Harry Donut anyway.
They call their drivers the Dingleberries.
Yeah,
Be a Dingleberry today.
yeah.
Over at
Those
Dingle
signs.
Dash. I can already.
I can see the app and the NFT being created right now.
I can
It's
already
a little
hear.
village. We'll get photos.
I can already hear Katarina's eyes rolling.
Yeah. She just has to learn that safe word. Justice. Just remember.
She's already screaming justice a couple times this podcast.
Yeah.
I said justice.
I'm sorry. It's funny. I had to continue.
So
Moment Rider,
That
justice.
button
smash!
doesn't go to anything. You can keep hitting it as many times as you want. It doesn't actually stop.
oh, I tell you what button does work, and that's the contact the team.
That is our quirk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing that works in this podcast. You just leave.
Oh God.
Leave your name, your email, and your message, and then the team will get back to you. Do you want to be a Perjanger? Do you want to have a Lucky and Nighty car that you want to have mentioned?
Do you want to be a Dinkle Dasher?
Yeah, you want to be a Dingle Dasher? Dash the.
You could be a Dingleberry Dingle Dasher if you just contact the team. Here, click the button. Oh man!
Oh, we broke him. Thank you.
By the end of the podcast, I needed that, and another thing I needed is the thank yous, because I want to thank you, our man Luminous Tater, Elizabetta Swatzinga, as well as Luis Gustavo and Finley Henderson, and you, loyal Walljanger, for tuning in every single week and topping it off, popping in on Walljanger Gaming, Big Brother Monday to Friday from 3 to 5-ish if migraines allow, myself every Sunday, sometimes Saturday if work allows, on the Old Republic. And of course, nothing goes forward without you, and we thank you all for watching. This is, of course, a long drawn out goodbye. I am your host, Matthew Bucarell, the Matman. In the Perjanger box, we have Christopher Bristow, the old man. Our omnipotent presence, it is Stephen Bucarell, Big Brother. Our hero of time, Link Diablo. And of course, we love you. We miss you. We want to see you next week. Until then, game on, boys and girls. Bye-bye.
Oh no, we're gonna end it.